So Bitcoin's hitting all-time highs, right? But here's the thing. There's this weird sense of fear growing right along with it. The source material for this explainer, Sovereign Crypto, asks a really important question. As the whole world starts jumping into Bitcoin, are we forgetting how to hold it the right way? Let's dig in and find out.
And this is where things get kind of paradoxical. What if the very thing that signals crypto's big moment, I'm talking massive success, mainstream adoption, is also its biggest weakness? It's a pretty wild idea, and it forces us to take a much closer look at what's actually going on under the hood.
I mean, the numbers are just absolutely staggering. We are definitely in a new crypto bull market, and it's being fueled by over $10 billion flooding into these newly approved Bitcoin ETFs. And that happened in just a few weeks. This is basically Wall Street giving Bitcoin its official stamp of approval. But that approval comes with some pretty big strings attached.
Okay, so this brings us right to the heart of the matter. We're looking at a tale of two very different ways to get involved with crypto. On one side, you've got this super easy mainstream adoption, and on the other, you have the original promise of crypto, complete and total financial sovereignty. And you know what? These two paths are really starting to split, and you've got to understand the choice you're making between them.
All right, this chart breaks it down perfectly. On one hand, you've got what we're calling corporate crypto. You know, think of a Bitcoin ETF or the account you have on a big exchange. A third party holds your assets for you, it's all regulated, and it's definitely trackable. But then you've got sovereign crypto, and that's a whole different ballgame. This is all about self-custody. You hold the keys, you are in control, and you get to keep your privacy. So let's really dig into what each of these means. So corporate crypto is basically the Wall Streetification of Bitcoin, right? And look, it's super convenient. There's no doubt about it. You just buy an ETF in your regular brokerage account and boom, you're done. But here's the million-dollar question. Do you actually hold the Bitcoin? The answer is no. A massive financial institution is holding it for you.
Sovereign crypto, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. It's the original spirit of Bitcoin. We're talking direct, uninterrupted ownership. You control the private keys to your assets, which means nobody, not a bank, not some institution, not even the government, can get to them without your say-so. Basically, you are your own bank. It's that simple.
So why are we making such a big deal about this? Why does this difference even matter? Well, the source material argues it's because all this centralization is creating what it calls a surveillance grid. The more we depend on these big institutions to hold our assets, the easier it becomes for our entire financial lives to be watched.
And the source material points to one system in particular as a potential cornerstone for this grid. So what exactly is this FedNow thing, and why are people who care about financial privacy so concerned about it?
All right, so FedNow, it's a government-backed instant payment system. Now, it's sold as a way to make payments faster and more efficient. But the big concern is that it creates a single, centralized choke point for all financial traffic. Imagine one single pipeline where every transaction can be monitored and, get this, potentially controlled. That gives a central authority a huge amount of power, which is the exact opposite of what crypto was designed to do. Now, with all these concerns on the table, the source doesn't just, sound the alarm and walk away. It actually offers a solution. It lays out what it calls the correct way to hold crypto if your main goal is to keep your privacy in control. So, how do you actually do that? Let's look at the practical steps.
And it really boils down to two key steps. First, get into DeFi, or decentralized finance. That means using financial tools that are built right on the blockchain for things like trading or lending, totally cutting out the old school middlemen. Second, and this is so important, you've got to secure your assets using cold storage. This is a physical hardware wallet. Looks kind of like a little USB stick that keeps your private keys completely offline and, most importantly, in your hands.
And this all leads to a phrase you've probably heard a million times if you're in the crypto space. Not your keys, not your coins. It's such a simple idea, but it's incredibly powerful. If you don't personally hold the private keys that control your crypto, you're really just trusting someone else with your money. So in a very real sense, are they even your coin?
At the end of the day, this isn't just about picking different investment strategies. What's really happening here is a fundamental choice about the future of your financial life. It's a choice about what you value more, convenience or control.
And this chart really lays out the trade-off perfectly. The path of corporate crypto, it gives you incredible convenience, but it comes at the cost of your financial sovereignty. The path of sovereign crypto, yeah, it takes a bit more personal responsibility, but in return, you get the absolute highest level of control and privacy over your own wealth. The source is pretty clear. It's a choice between ease and actual ownership.
And so we land on this one Really critical question. As the big players, Wall Street, governments, get more and more involved, every single person who holds crypto needs to take a step back and ask themselves, wait a minute, how am I holding my assets? Is my crypto truly, without a doubt, mine? The very success that brought crypto into the mainstream is now forcing us to decide what this was all for in the first place. Thanks for tuning in to this Explain.